I did find the conversation when they went on their first date a little bit confusing. Like, I think not confusing so much as like, I felt like KJ has not dated that much, I think maybe, but like the way that he immediately brought up Ben, as soon, like basically as soon as she sat down, I mean, they made it seem like that.
Yeah.
But he brought Ben up really quickly and then was like challenging her about whether she actually likes him. He's like, everyone likes Ben. What do you mean? Like she, you know, almost like in kind of like a contrary way. Like I was like, whoa, like she can tell you she doesn't like him.
Hot.
Yeah, exactly. But then she said, she was like, well, I don't want it. She's like, and that's actually something I wanted to bring up because I didn't want you to think this was like some weird competition thing. And he cut her off to say, so you don't like Ben? And she sort of like smiled and like slowly was like, no, like I kind of was like, yeah, she does. Like, yeah, it was sort of,
because that's a really good point. She maybe wasn't going to say that. She maybe was going to say something else.
Yeah.
Like,
come with us. Let's reality test.
Welcome, friends, to Reality Test. What is reality testing, you may ask? Well, it's something we all do when we check our subjective or personal emotions, thoughts, and so forth against objective or fact-based reality. So here in Reality Test, we're going to be testing the castmate realities and the producer antics of our favorite reality TV shows against what we know as licensed psychologists about the reality off of our TVs. We hope you'll join us as we attempt to reality test. That's it. Thanks, y'all. Now check out our campy theme song.
Are you feeling stressed? Your head's all messed? Well, let's forget all the rest. Fuck it, we're blessed. Cause it's time to talk reality test. Come with us. Let's reality test.
welcome to Reality Test. I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Dr. Kay. Feel free to check in and take a seat wherever you like. We are going back to Summer House, back to the Hamptons, y'all. Who doesn't like the Hamptons?
I almost said love the Hamptons, but I've never been, so I actually don't know. But I have to assume that I would.
You
love
would.
The Hamptons.
You definitely would. And you should come with me to see my brother's house. Yeah, it's like so nice. He's yeah, it's great. It's really fun. I like that. It's fun because they're going to a lot of the same places I've been to now, and I like that part of it. It's kind of fun. I noticed they mentioned one in the last episode that I haven't been to. It's called Murph's, but I think that's probably short for something like Murphy, obviously like Murphy's or something. So I don't know. I'm sort of interested in sort of finding out where that is and try to go. Maybe we can go when we go together.
I would love, and then we could. Yeah, that would be the best. We can record from the Hamptons and wear fabulous hats and just be overall fabulous. I cannot wait.
Yes. You know my hat game is strong in the Hamptons.
Yes.
That picture of me, that is my usual icon. Yeah, exactly. No, I love that. We'll wear a fabulous hat. I have plenty of them if you want to borrow a summer hat. We have
I have zero, though you have like a nice small head. Mine's kind of large. My hat game is pretty weak, but challenge accepted.
Yeah, I have several. One will be the right size. Yeah, I have some that are too big for me too. So we'll have options. Good. But yeah, exactly. We can record from there. It would be so fun, and maybe go to the one of the bars they go to or something.
I would die. Lunch. I would die of joy. What if we saw them there? That would be, oh my God.
Yeah, we actually have to. That should be the challenge. We should go on a weekend we know that they're starting to film and go try to track them down. Because I know
it's in July.
Yeah, exactly. They usually start July 4th, I think, that weekend, kind of. So,
how do people get invited to their parties?
I always wonder that. I'm like, me. I would like to go because they clearly don't know everyone there.
Extras.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be messy. I'll bring drama if you want.
Yeah,
or not. I can be cool if not. If drama's not on the table.
Yeah,
but
you tell us. We'll do it.
Yeah,
we'll be here.
Yeah, we'll do it. We're down.
Exactly. I love it. That'd be so fun. Get a little insider scoop.
That would be the best thing of life. I can imagine the people at those parties must be freaking out. Like, I would be tempted to, like, just film things inside the house and stuff like that. Like, I have to imagine there's a lot of tomfoolery that happens.
Yeah, as secretly as possible. Because, like, New Yorkers are so, like, they know that, like, you know, celebrities don't want to be, you know, like, fangirled over and stuff. So everyone's, like, very chill, like, very, very chill about meeting famous people. You can tell by the way that, like, some of the girls flirt with the boys, like, as if they don't know who they are. Or they're like, oh, I like your outfit. Like, you know, it's like, oh.
You like his Instagram followers, I bet, a little bit more.
Yes, you probably do know who this is, but that's okay. Yeah, no, I mean, it's cute. I agree, though. I noticed in one of these recent parties, since we're already talking about Summer House here, one of their recent parties that we'll talk about, or will likely come up, it was like the Renaissance party. People were way underdressed for that. They just looked like, dressed like what they would wear to the club or something. You know, I was just sort of like, oh. I like that one person wearing the Renaissance Beyonce shirt.
Oh, yes, that's party appropriate.
Exactly, on theme.
Yeah, some people went hard. Some people went not so hard.
Yeah, it was really like the housemates, the rat,
Yeah, they
the
really
plague
go
rat.
for it. Yeah,
And Ben.
Oh, that was perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Plague rat, and then Ben in his
Ciara
tights.
kills it.
She does.
Yeah.
She really does go all out. I love it. I love that she's so unapologetic about it, and also chill. Like, she's just very chill about how great it is. I love it. Well, on that note, although not really related to that note, we also have two segments that we start out our episodes with. One is our check-in, where we find out what's on your heart and mind today that you're bringing in. And the other one, which we'll start with, is our reality check, where we check on reality and the studies out there about certain concepts that might be related to the show, might not be, and generally are potentially of interest to you because they're of interest to us. So, dear Dr. Ray, what is your reality check today?
Okay, so I found a chapter from a book called The Forgotten Victims of Sexual Violence in Film, Television, and New Media. And the chapter is called You Can't Force Someone to Want You, Investigating Consent, Tokenism, and Play in Reality Dating Shows.
Obsessed.
And I want to highlight, I want to read this book, but I want to highlight one line from this chapter. And this is about reality dating shows. So it's not necessarily Summer House.
That is right where Dr. Ray got cut off. We had some audio difficulties with this episode, so not sure what happened, but I can instead tell you the quote that Dr. Ray goes on to say. Reality dating shows present love as a sexual conquest through specific production decisions, financial contracts, and game-like rules. The genre's basis in the heterosexual script, where men present as, quote, sexual agents and women as, quote, prizes to conquer, makes consent difficult to define conceptually.
I was just thinking about that because that is how Ciara is feeling. And both of these men, Jesse and West, are acting as if they're the sexual agents who get to decide what Ciara does and does not do. And she has become like a prize, like in their mind, perhaps because they both want her. That makes whatever the fuck goes on in men's head that's disgusting, a little more salient. Like, men seem to want women that other men want, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. I would say people of all gender, but
yeah,
we all
true.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I guess, social dynamics. But yeah, it felt, when I read that line, I was like, oh my God, that is so applicable to what we are seeing this week with Ciara in Summer House.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Snaps. And I've been nodding vigorously for anyone not watching the video. Side note, videos are still lagging behind, so sorry about that. They're coming. My computer woes are not over. Let's say that. Yes, I absolutely, so to that point, I was snapping and nodding vigorously because that's fantastic. Fantastic book, fantastic line, is absolutely on point with what's happening with Ciara, and totally true about dating shows where it's sort of like you're supposed to want them, and so then it's like you have to be able to kiss them if they kiss you, or, you should be grateful if they kiss you, or grateful. Yeah, that makes consent so hairy. So I totally agree about this with consent. And I just really felt so inspired by, Ciara's ability to sort of like slow down and process and sort of think about what it meant to her and what was happening, and to feel her emotions, which I thought was really important. So great content in the show for people to see, and also therefore great study related to it. Thank you so much, Dr. Ray. And I couldn't be more delighted to find that our subject matter was matching. So we don't tell each other what our studies are going to be before we present them. So it's funny that it turns out we have the same topic area. Mine is going to be combined with my check-in. So that's why I chose sexual violence traumas, because it's related to my check-in. So first I will explain my study so that then I'll just segue it into my check-in. How about? So my study is also about sexual violence. It's actually specific to college-age students. So the study that I wanted to bring in is actually twofold, kind of. One is by RAIN, which is the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. That's from 2025, this study. So that's a big deal that it's this recent that they did this kind of stuff. But they reported that women in college age groups are about 3 times more likely to be assaulted than women in other age groups. 3 times. That's really massive. Obviously, it makes sense with the college setting. Also with like the desirability around that age, like even in the media, right? The way that we like sexualize women of that age. So it makes a lot of sense in that way as well. And then recent studies also indicate that approximately 13% of college students experience rape or sexual assault involving physical force, violence, or incapacitation. And rates are higher among undergraduate women than undergraduate men, and higher among graduate women than graduate men, of course. But the percentages there are quite wild. Like if you go, so for the undergraduate women, it's 26.4%, whereas undergrad men is 6.8%. And then for graduate women, 9.7%, and graduate men, 2.5%. All 2025 studies, and all RAIN. I said there was two parts, but actually I'll just stick with the RAIN studies. But yes, the point there being relevant also, and by the way, like she is graduate student age, Ciara. So actually there is kind of that comparison to be made, but this was not about the show. It was about my check-in. So I'll talk about that. But the other kind of cool shout out about it is that is taken from the dissertation of one of Dr. Ray's students that I was just getting to see as on the committee for, because I actually grabbed these stats out of the dissertation to be able to use for my book, which is about my check-ins about. So thank you to that student, whom I will, I guess, protect their name. Like why, I don't know. Thank you to that student who had these stats in there, and to you, Dr. Ray, as the advisor, dissertation chair, because those stats are perfect for one of the things that I got back as feedback about my book. So my check-in, as you all have heard me, probably if you've listened to this podcast before, it's most likely it came up one of those times that I was asked to write a book about basically sexual violence trauma, but using creativity and art in the treatment of that, both at a individual psychotherapy level and at the systemic level. And so one of the things we focused on for the systemic level of the book was college settings, because there is such a high rate. And so there, like what are we doing to help on college campuses when we also know not only is there a high rate, but there's so little actually being done about it. Title IX, it's such a complicated matter and people really don't follow it, which is so depressing. So therefore, going back to my update part, and then I'll weave back in the stats. So basically what happened was I submitted the manuscript finally, so exciting. And I got back feedback on it, also so exciting, because it was such good feedback that the publisher actually said, why don't we meet to talk about whether you want to edit it at all? I was like, what? Like, what a testament to how good it was. And I was so proud of it and so excited because it means it's definitely happening. I even got an email right after that asking me to help with making the book cover. So I'm so excited. Talk about using art too, by the way, because even I ended up doing mock-ups for the cover because I just got so excited. I was like, I know, it's like, this could look cool if you did it like this. So I got really into it. And I think it fits given that it's an artistic related book. But it reminded me also, like, this has been in my history for a long time. Like, I double majored in undergrad in art history and psych. And so it's cool to think that was the book that I was asked to write, even though that's really not what I'm doing a whole lot of my other research work on. I'm more so focused on LGBTQ plus populations and so forth. But this has been a really exciting process. So one of the edits we got, therefore, this will tie back in the stat, was like, why did we focus just on the college setting for the systemic level? And I think that makes a lot of sense as a critique. It is my third author who did that chapter because her dissertation was on college age sexual violence and Title IX, actually, by the way, which is interesting with your student as well. And so that was just what she's like well versed in, and she works in college counseling. So that's sort of where that came from. But one of the things I wanted to do is sort of defend that choice also because of how much higher the rates are. And so when I saw that in this dissertation, I was like, perfect. That's exactly what I'm also looking for as a defense here in terms of just rationale, more than defense, but rationale that we could put in there so that people understand why we focus on that for systemic level. I do think it is still stuff that like also can be mapped onto other settings. Like you can do some of the things we suggest in a community setting as well. So it doesn't need to be just college counseling. But yeah, so I'm really, really thrilled. I am going to be working on that a little bit coming up, but it's moving and grooving. And so that's my highlight, because also ultimately my other version of my check-in is like a PSA about classism and the idea that I'm like dead broke right now with my husband going through disability, and just the idea we still have not gotten long-term disability to get their shit together and send him his long-term disability. So we're just been sort of like scraping the bottom of the barrel here. And it was just Dr. Ray and I were talking about this. It's just a reminder of the fact that like, yes, I have my doctorate, but you really don't know what people are going through, right? You really don't know what is happening in terms of financial pictures and so forth. And we get paid monthly, which by the way is like, this is like a shout out against that fucking sucks, because then you like pay off bills and whatever, and then suddenly you're out like early on in the month. So when you're in this situation, paying for full rent and for 3 adults and so forth, so off a non-profit paycheck. So that was my other version of the check-in, which is much more depressing. So I'll still give that out because I do want to sort of make a sort of like PSA or sort of the more you know about classism and so forth. But I will say the more exciting thing is, meanwhile, my book is moving along. They do say, you make almost no money off of books. This is wild, but only 5% of books make more than 1,000 copies.
Are you serious?
Yeah, sell more.
Some bull.
I know, and I only get like a real royalty after 1,000 copies are sold, which is why they do that, because they know it's so unlikely that will happen. So I might end up with like basically not to get all out of this, except that they even said that to me. They were like, don't do this for money. They're like, if you want to, like, the publishers, they're like, if you want to be able to say like you have a book, or like if it's about the clout and so forth and the name, then that's great. Or if it's about raising awareness. And I was like, it is about the raising awareness piece for me, because this is something that like I really think more therapists could be doing, and really helping sexual violence survivors in a major, major way that is far more nuanced than just sort of, or creative, frankly, than just sort of, well, quote unquote, just doing trauma therapy proper. So I think it is a really exciting thing to raise awareness around. But in other words, even though I'm complaining about being completely broke, this is actually not the solution. This is just a good feeling. It's a good feeling that the book is moving and grooving, and we will have the disability settled soon. So we will be fine. There's a fix in the works, but it's not this one. This is just a mood
and
boost.
also a PSA to pay us to,
right.
yeah. Like,
can you imagine if our podcast actually made some money? Yeah, right. I didn't even think about the podcast. Yeah, one day maybe this could also be a form of income. That might be lovely.
It's true.
Yeah.
Maybe people assume that because we are doctors that we just have all this money coming in. Y'all. Doctorates are sexist too.
Yes.
We are not like male-dominated doctorates make a good amount of money. Psychologists, if you go into testing, you might make some good money.
Yes, but or just don't work at a nonprofit. Yeah, exactly. The academics.
Mm-hmm. So please pay us. Thank you. Please and thank
join
you.
us on
Shameless.
Join us on Instagram. Well, join us on Instagram too, but join us on Patreon. And, you can see the videos of our episodes, because we have a lot of fun with our videos. You actually could get a lot out of it. And I do a lot of really fun editing with it. So really, the videos are more than the episode, and highly recommend checking it out.
Highly.
You also, can see that you will get the audios the night before. Again, with the deep dive episodes, that was not the case, but typically you get the episodes the night before they air on the regular channels. So you get that early just for being a free member. You can just become a free member just to check it out, see what's happening there. And the more of you that join, the more there can be really a community around this topic, because there are a lot of things that happen on reality TV where people are sort of in the comments on Instagram and so forth, sort of saying like, wow, we need psychologists talking about this. And we are doing that. So you also, as psychology interested people, or yourself psychologists, or yourself master's level clinicians, you might very well find there's quite a community of us that could come together and talk. So come join us, even if it's just for the community, even if it's free membership.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Well said. And so
Thank
exciting
you.
About your book.
Thank you.
Maybe we can advertise it here.
Yes, you're
Perhaps
right.
That can be another way to get more folks into the chat about it.
Get my book.
Dr. Kay is an incredible writer, and I am very confident that this book is going to be amazing.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Yeah, no, it's a textbook too. So especially for you clinicians listening. But really, like, one of the quotes we got back from the reviewers, it was so sweet. He was actually the one that had like the most sort of like additional critical feedback. So like he had the thing about the college age stuff. He wrote as a comment, he was like, this book is relevant to all people who have been touched in some way, or have helped people who have been touched in some way by sexual violence, like every single person. So that was just such a sweet thing to say. Like, you don't have to be a clinician to get something out of the book. And I think that was like a really great reminder. Like, we actually have quite a big audience here, even though it's a textbook in the way it's written. Yeah, definitely. You may very well like it yourselves, whoever you are, whatever you're doing as a job. Because we know most of us have at least in some way been touched by sexual violence, whether it's us ourselves who have in some way suffered or survived it, or people that we know. Certainly, it's way too high of rates not to, so not to be relevant.
Frickin'
Sadly, yeah. So tell me yours, check in. What's on your heart and mind today, dear Dr. Ray?
Check in. I was in Florida.
Woo.
I like Florida.
Woo.
The sunshine makes me happy.
Yes.
I need sun. I'm glad the time has changed and we get an extra hour because my mood has improved. My energy levels improved.
Woo. And you're tan.
Yeah, I'm tan. I love being tan. This was fun. So, yes, all good. I got to read. I got to relax for a few days. And I'm very happy that I got to go to Florida. So that's what's on. I'm just riding that high kind of into the weekend.
I love it.
It's going to snow in New England again.
Yes,
that's
I know. Rude. Maybe we can have one
Very
more pretty
rude.
snow, though, and then it'll never happen again for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
Let's hope.
Then let's move on. Mm-hmm. I'm ready for warmth. Yes,
exactly.
Indeed.
Oh, it's brutal. It has been warm. There was like those days where it was 60 fucking degrees. That was so nice. Oh my gosh. And now we're back to the cold, but yeah.
No fair.
No, but we're heading in the right direction. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's fucking
please.
go.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Shall we jump into these themes that we have here? So we're doing the same kind of model we did the last time we talked about Summer House, which is we're doing themes. We're just talking about general things that are in some way related to relationships, social justice, or psychotherapy / mental health, psychology. So our first theme is Dara enters the chat. What did you think about Dara?
Yes. I liked Dara. I thought she brought a good energy. I think she came in like... maybe she was told by producers, hey, you got to create some more sexual tension in the chat because what's the blonde woman's name? Who's really awkward and...
Oh, Bailey.
Yeah. I think they were kind of hoping that she would bring that, but it doesn't seem like it's happening. So I think Dara's entering. Yeah, Dara's entering. She's got a lot of confidence. And I like that she didn't choose Ben. I like that she chose KJ. That made me very happy. So yeah, I'm feeling good about it. I don't have that much critical to say other than glad she didn't choose the white boy and chose someone she had a genuine connection with. I'm happy for both of them.
Yes, totally. I agree. And I think she was like, I really like her a lot. I think she's gorgeous, of course, but I also really like her energy. So my husband was sort of like, oh, she's kind of mean. I was like, she's really not mean. She's not being mean. I know. I was sort of like, I don't think
get that.
I think it's sort of like a millennial. So my husband's older. So, but older than I am, at least, let's say that. But I think it might be a millennial thing. Like for us, it's like sort of like, it's like a little bit of like a snarky flirt, but it's like the way you're flirting.
Yeah.
It was definitely flirtatious. And I kept being like, she's really not mean. I was like, I think she's being flirty. She's just being like sassy a little bit. And it's very clear to them that she's being sassy. Like they're clearly not thinking she's mean either. So I think that was just a miss in terms of generational differences. But I like her a lot. I think she's a lot of fun and I like the way she flirts. And then I also felt like, so to me, it was also like a marked difference how she was flirting with Ben versus how she was flirting with KJ. Also, by the way, I just want to side note that I accidentally called KJ CJ potentially the last time we talked about Summer House, so my bad on that. It's KJ. Yeah. But I've actually found it to be quite different. I actually thought she did like Ben more, too, based on how she was flirting with both of them. Like, she was a lot more, like, in the power position with KJ, and she was definitely not in the power position with Ben.
So she must like that. I had that thought, too. I'm like, she must like being more dominant. Because with Ben, they were kind of in, like, bed together taking pictures, and so I was thinking, oh... clearly something's going on there.
Yeah. And it might be that he didn't really seal the deal. I mean, in terms of like getting the text messages or talking about going on a date, because KJ brought up going on a date right away in that conversation. And I mean, he was hard on himself about flirting as well, the way that Bailey is too. He's sort of like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I think that he did because he asked her on a date and that really worked. I did find the conversation when they went on their first date a little bit confusing. Like, I think not confusing so much as like, I felt like KJ has not dated that much, I think maybe, but like the way that he immediately brought up Ben, basically as soon as she sat down, I mean, they made it seem like that. Yeah. But he brought Ben up really quickly and then was like challenging her about whether she actually likes him. He's like, everyone likes Ben. What do you mean? Like she, almost like in kind of like a contrary way. Like I was like, whoa, like she can tell you she doesn't like him.
Hot.
Yeah, exactly. And then she was like, well, I don't want it. She's like, and that's actually something I wanted to bring up because I didn't want you to think this was like some weird competition thing. And he cut her off to say, so you don't like Ben? And she sort of like smiled and like slowly was like, no, like I kind of was like, yeah, she does. Like, yeah, it was sort of,
because that's a really good point. She maybe wasn't going to say that. She maybe was going to say something else. Yeah. Like, I'm exploring my options. Yeah. I'm entitled to do that. Ooh, you're right. I missed that. But you're right with that read.
It was real quick. And also, like, I think it put her in the position. It definitely did. She had to just sort of, because she very slowly agreed with him about that. And then it was sort of like, now she has to kind of ride that position of like, even though everyone would think she'd like Ben, she just likes KJ and she never liked Ben to begin with. And so like, she sort of cornered into that perspective, but again, like the way that KJ approached it too, I just was like, it felt very early in relational life experience, if you will. And so I think he is really, he brought himself up as like the baby in another context. And I think he is. He's sort of childlike in that way, in a cute way. Like he's sort of aware of it. And it was endearing for sure. But I just was sort of like, whoa, like this conversation is tough to watch.
He said he's anxious too, which I think is definitely, maybe that was his anxiety, just wanting to get to the bottom of things.
Yes.
But yeah, it was kind of weird.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think it really could have been his anxiety, or it definitely was his anxiety at play. But then also I think it's the way that it's playing out feels just like early. It's like the way that, I think I brought this up about the new Vanderpump Rules with the guy with the eyebrows, and that he just flirts like a 2007, you know, like just like way back, like he like considers women objects in the same way we did back then, and da-da-da. So like this is not that, but it is a little bit of a like, it felt very like 2007. I don't know, just like, so maybe that's just because that's when I was, you know, like growing up and doing flirting. Who knows?
Totally, it's like, oh,
Yeah, like, okay, I'm uncomfortable, but that's fine. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, you're cuter than that. You can own it. You can just own your, you know, own your hotness and power. And like when he brought up he's a male model, she's like, aren't you a male model? I was like, good for her. That's a great point. Like, yeah, that was a really good, like, remember your, you know, she's encouraging him to feel empowered. And I actually really loved his take when he said, you know, like a lot of people are like, you know, we go on dates once a week or whatever. He's like, I'm like the kind of person, like, if we have time, let's get together. Like, I was like, I love that. That's very...
I do too.
Yeah. Yeah. Very attachment. I wonder if he has little notes of anxious attachment. That kind of feels like right on the money, actually. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So, fun stuff. Love it. Love it. Welcome, Dara. I hope you stick around and come back because I did like watching her.
I agree. I thought she was fun. She's the kind of person who I think would do well on reality TV, because you kind of have to have more of a confident air about you to survive some of the bullshit. And I do feel for poor Bailey. Like, I feel like she gets caught in the crosshairs because she's a little anxious.
Yeah.
And been through some things.
Yeah. Yeah. Traumatized. Yeah. And I think that, but I agree. Like, I think Dara was like what they were hoping for from Bailey. I totally agree with that. And I think Dara should stick around. So, like, I think she should stay as part of the new crew next year or whatever. Even if Bailey and, what was her friend's name?
I don't remember.
Yikes.
That says it something, maybe.
It does, though. Because I'm really pretty good with names. Like, usually I'll remember, you know, it's like, but I really don't. I've not even the first clue. I can't even tell you what it starts with. So that says something. Yeah, she doesn't really show up a whole lot. I like that she's there to be friends with Bailey, but it feels very much more like Bailey's the new member, not the two of them.
And it seems like they wanted to make them like a Laverne and Shirley kind of thing, new friendships entering as some of the you know, folks who've been there a while fade out, but it's just not quite hitting.
Nope. It's just not quite hitting. I agree. And I also think the same thing happened with Lexi, right? Like, she started out with somebody last year, and then that person sort of like faded off. Yeah. So I wonder if that's actually like part of it. They like put two in and see if one sticks, or if it's, you know, or if it's just happened that happened twice, basically. Yeah. Okay. Next theme. Let's do West and Jesse regarding Ciara. So this is, you know, pretty clear what we're talking about here. It's, let me put it this way, actually, rather than that, this is about Ciara regarding West and Jesse. How about that? So,
absolutely.
Just as background for anyone that didn't watch it, it basically starts with Jesse asking West. So West is Ciara's ex-boyfriend. He like couldn't seal the deal, and the most unfortunate part is that she was out. She was waiting to have sex until they were more serious, and so they were like sort of dating but not together for the whole summer. And then finally, like in the fall, she has sex with him, and then right after that, he breaks up with her. It's one of the most disgusting, frustrating things ever. I really can't stand it. So that's their history. And then he said some bad shit about her in the press. So they had a tough time. They're still pretty awkward. Yeah, they're still pretty awkward with each other. But it's becoming clear in these last episodes that he's starting to flirt with her again and starting to like her again, at least when they're drinking. He feels more comfortable flirting with her again. So meanwhile, Jesse, on a parallel spectrum, their parallel track, has been really good friends with Ciara since the beginning. So even when he's been good friends with West, so that meant he was good friends with Ciara when the two of them had been dating. They even kissed at one point while she was dating West, and West was fine with it because he knew that she was really with him. But they've been this sort of like flirtmance this whole time. So when West was out of the picture, they got even more close. So now Jesse asks West, can I make out with Ciara? He asks for permission. Then it gets back to Ciara. So first of all, West actually does get pissed and says later to him, like, that's a dick thing to ask. Like, other people would think you're being a dick for asking that. Meaning, like...
Which is a wild thing to say.
Yeah, exactly. Because
other people said, but it's like, no, you feel that way, sir. These are your feelings.
Exactly. Own it with some I statements, please and thank you. And the ironic part is that it is a dick thing to do, but not for the reason West meant. West meant, like, you shouldn't ask me that because you shouldn't want to go for my ex-girl. But, like, actually, the dick thing is you shouldn't be asking for permission, period, without talking to the person about whom you're speaking. And so that happens. That gets back to Ciara via Lindsay. And Lindsay basically says, well, Jesse asked West if you could, like, joking make out, like in a joking way make out. And West, of course, didn't care. And And so that was an unfortunate miss. Yeah.
That was Yeah,
right?
that was a big miss because I actually think Jesse really liked her. He wrote that song about friends because, you know, he gets like really creepy attached, which it was kind of, I was like, he's kind of funny in the way that he is.
Yeah.
But I do think he liked her.
And I think West was pissed. And I think West was actually pissed. So, like, it made both of them out to seem like it actually objectified Ciara from their perspectives way more than either of them actually intended.
Yeah. What do you think of the order of operations, like the PEMDAS of Jesse? Because I was thinking about it and I was like, I could maybe see asking the friend before, because if you bring Ciara in and then ask, it would like, I can actually see that potentially being an okay order of operations.
Yes.
It's just then the way it was like made into a joke makeout session because West too. I think they didn't want to hear that he actually liked her.
Yeah.
And then he was afraid to say that. And then it turned into something that I don't think Jesse intended.
Right, exactly. West's version of it to Lindsay was changed from what it was. And also I think, because West even said, I don't even think she'd want that. And Lindsay was like, I don't know. And so then West was like, well, it's only joking anyway. You know, so it made him kind of panic and make less of it. And also I think you're exactly right. I had the same thought. I was sort of like, I actually kind of get what he's saying, like about like you want to ask your friend if they are still invested, because if they're still invested, then you'll get out of the way. But if not, then like maybe it makes sense for you to try something. But I think Ciara's point, because she also seemed to understand that, because her whole point, which I fully agree with, is then you should have asked if we can go on a date. Like, don't ask about making out. Don't ask about it being sexual.
Yes.
Like, go on a date with me. And Jesse very wisely in the direct to camera said, like, I knew she didn't want something casual. I feel like an asshole for fucking that up. And it's like, yeah, that's actually true. Even though it got misconstrued along the way, it's not entirely not your fault. Like, it still is your fault. Like, you definitely should have asked for a date instead of, So
he would have tried a drunken makeout. He wouldn't have tried a date. And that was his error, actually.
Yes, exactly.
So Ciara took it there. Yeah, I forgot that detail. But in the moment, I remember being like, yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. And you're right, because he wouldn't have asked her on a date. Exactly. It's like, because he would have just wanted to, because it's when they drink, right? And he's sort of thinking that too. It's like when they drink, it's different. And that's how they're all feeling. Like, because she also is a lot closer with them when she drinks. I mean, that's like a natural human thing as well. And so I think it changes the chat a little bit there. I also think, what did you make of the fact that so then Jesse and West, like at the Renaissance party, were fighting each other, like wrestling, and then they said kiss, 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 and then Jesse kissed West on the mouth, and which was great. But then West yells out, he didn't ask permission.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Yeah. And like, Ciara was.
Do you think it was tied? Did you think it was tied to that? Because I wasn't sure. I was like, maybe he was just being like.
Consent.
Because his whole shtick is he's kind of a dick, right? So I was like, maybe he's just being a dick. I wasn't sure if it was directly.
I was thinking he said it. Yeah, well, that's a good point. Like, because one thing is it's about consent. It's like he didn't ask for permission, so it's consent. But like, no, I did get the sense that like it was loaded. Like, I think he asked permission to make out with Ciara, but he didn't ask permission to make out with me, and now he is or whatever. God. I think that was how I read it. They had Ciara sitting at a table during this, and we don't know if that's true. Like, it could have been totally different timing. And so when they showed her sitting at the table, it was right after that comment. They show her looking up, and then they show her starting to cry, and so and then she goes into the room. So then her friend comes and comforts her, and they go into the room, and I love that. So what I learned from this, by the way, about Ciara is like she is definitely introverted. Like, she is introverted. She definitely needs to like process on her own. And so when the friends were telling her, like Lindsay was telling her about this, and Amanda was asking Lindsay questions, and Ciara was just sort of like shut down immediately. And I think because she didn't even know what to think or what to ask, and I think she needed to process on her own first. And so then that's why she was sitting alone at the table, and then that's why she needed to go upstairs, and that's why she was crying too. I think in that instance it was sort of like flooding her, and yet she was in public feeling alone.
Poor Ciara.
That was
shitty.
Yeah. As a fellow introvert, I see it. I get it, and I feel it, and I see it, and I understand it completely. And I actually really felt for the way that Jesse was able to, I thought he handled the conversation really well. Like, so he asks her to talk once he finds out but what I didn't like was he could tell she was upset, and he just hoped it wasn't about him. I was like, fucking ask her. Like, what do you mean? Come on.
There's a very quick way because she was kind of in her way, I think, pulling for him to ask.
Yeah.
She just was.
Yeah, and he could tell she was upset.
You should have just asked.
Yeah, it was clear that like she wanted to talk about it, but he didn't want to find out. He didn't want to find out it was about him. Is really what it is. So he's like, I'm avoiding the fuck out of this. until fucking...
He's like, I don't want this bad vibe.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And then it took KJ telling the boys in the car, like, by the way, I heard that Ciara was upset about that conversation y'all had. So then Jesse does ask Ciara for a conversation, and she brings up feeling objectified, and she handled it so fabulously, and just talking about like it feels sexualizing, and the idea that like I'm not an object that y'all can like decide I'm the person you should be asking for permission, but like also, you know, ask to go on a date, like if that's what if you were being serious about it. And she tells us like she feels like not only is it hurtful that they felt like they couldn't talk to her, that Jesse didn't think he could just ask her directly about like, what do you think? How are we? What are we doing? What's up? Is it something we want to think about? Because that's the other order of operations. It could have started with him just being like, what are we? Like, how are you feeling? Mm-hmm. And then if she said like, well, I don't know, like maybe da-da-da, he could have been like, okay, awesome. Like, actually, do you mind if I just like mention it to Wes, because I just don't want to da-da-da. You know, so there's that version as well that could have happened, and I think it might have been better, but still, this could have looked different even with the same order of events. But yeah, so then she says not only was that hurtful, she also feels like it reaffirms her belief of herself as no one wanting something serious with her. And when she said that, my husband was like, we'd marry you. He's like, we want to marry you. He's like, we could just hang out. He's like, we all think of you as serious. He was thinking about like both him and I would marry her and have it be a throuple, because we both love her and obviously are attracted to her, but that's only a small piece of it. Like, it really is like, she's brilliant. She's so emotionally intelligent. She's so kind and yet like spunky and sassy. And she just like, she's very marryable. And I think very, you know, like she's like one of the best people on reality TV, period. And also a nurse and like, well, you know, established. Sean brought up, he's like, and she has a real title, not like influencer. I was like, oh, that's true. You know, yeah.
She has actually done some things with her life and is just like ridiculously gorgeous. Stunning. Like it's kind of insane. Stunning. Like, it's almost like she walks into a room. And you know, when like insanely hot people walk into a room, I kind of giggle. I'm like, how are you? Like, she's just so attractive. And I think, unfortunately, because of that, not because of that, it's not her fucking fault, but like the whole shit with Austin, the whole shit with West, all of these boys, as she said, like wanting to experience her and then not sealing the deal. And it's like, what the internalized racism is happening here? I don't fucking know, but it must feel like absolute shit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, is that why you always giggle when I walk into a room?
Yes, every time. I'm like, I just can't help myself, you know? It's really hard because we work together just every time.
Every faculty meeting.
Yep. Full of giggles.
Oh, God. Sorry, I had to.
That's perfect.
I did hold the deadpan, too, long enough that you had to sort of like clock on it. No, but your point is a really good one, and it is some serious internalized racism. I mean, not internalized for them; they have implicit racism and sexism towards her that like is like so deeply embedded they don't really see it. It's like it's an animalism, right? It's like this idea of like seeing Black women and women in general, but Black women as animals in some way that are hypersexual, and therefore like part of what is fetishized about them is that sexualization, or sort of seeing that as like what the most important part is, rather than like their brains and, you know, personality and everything else that's there very prominently. And so, yeah, exactly. She is stunning. And she's also stunning as a human and personality. Mm-hmm. And I do appreciate Jesse was like, she's beautiful inside and out. And that is true. It is different how he talks about her than how he talked about Lexi. You have to.
It's true.
Yeah.
He did not respect Lexi, which is unfortunate too. He wrote her off as like some sort of dumb blonde, which is also hurtful, not in the same way as racism, but it also sucks.
Yeah. He definitely sexualized her and like belittled, like infantilized her, and sort of saw her as there for the sex. So, yeah, Jesse's got some learning to do, and I think some of it comes from the fact with his cancer that he did see women as like not long-termable at all, like because he just didn't think he had long-term, so he was sort of bouncing around, bopping around. And so from that, he didn't really learn a lot of these like sort of more basic skills about, not basic, that's not fair, but like some of these relational skills associated with being in relationship with people and seeing people as more than sexual, and what's the word, conquests.
Yes. What I did like is I could tell he actually felt bad.
Yeah.
Like where West goes on the defensive, like a little brat. Mm-hmm. Like West is a brat. That he's sitting on her, and yeah, it's kind of funny, but it's also he's just such a fucking brat. And like, why does he have any power over any woman. Like, I don't understand it, but like, I could tell that Jesse actually, I think he'll learn from this. And I appreciated that.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Like, even in West's conversation with Ben, where he was sort of saying, like, yeah, I miss her, it was still really clear. It's like, you know, and it's like, well, now that you see Jesse liking her and having a way to get, you know, in with her, maybe, like, now that you know that Lindsay said, well, I don't know about her maybe getting with Jesse, then suddenly it was like, wait, no, she's mine. That's my toy. You can't play with it. It's like, I didn't want to play with the toy anymore, but now that I see you want to play with it, it's my toy. I want to play with it, you know.
And I'm going to sit on my toy like a little child.
And like sweet baby angel Ciara clearly still feels for him, because she just definitely was like, I know what that means. And, you know, I'm glad for her for like holding to when he brought up that night, like about like, I don't know, when he was drinking, he was like, I just don't know how to talk to you. And she's like, I designed it that way. Like, I love it. It's great. It was a great comment. And also, like, I think it's good that she's not like letting him just get right back into her good graces, even though she clearly does still feel for him so much. So really,
do we think they're dating? I've heard rumors that they might be dating, and then there's a pivot saying he and Amanda are maybe together, but that maybe that's a misdirect. I don't know. I've seen some weird shit on the social medias. If he and Amanda, I feel like Amanda would never do that to Ciara.
Fuck
if
no.
she would, I would be very disappointed in her.
Same.
If they are dating, great.
Yeah.
They being Ciara and West. I'm happy for Ciara for taking the power back in the situation, even if I don't think West is even close to good enough for her.
Right. Exactly. Same. Because I also similarly would be disappointed in Amanda. I don't think Amanda would do that. And yeah, exactly. Like, I think it's too bad that he has a lot more growing to do than she does. And we've seen that dynamic before. We've seen that, like, women who are, you know, mature and have been through the fucking ringer and therefore are super experienced at life and smart and da-da-da-da, being with boys who are just still learning the fucking size of their dick or whatever. Like, you know, it's like they're it's like she has to, like, raise him, basically, is what that would look like. And that's so unfortunate. And I want more for her. But at the same time, she does like him a lot. So I agree. Good for her if she wants to be with him. That's great. I love that it's hopefully a misdirect, because that's fucking ghastly otherwise. I feel like she's got to be with Ben. If Amanda's not with Ben, that's crazy. She's got to get with Ben. That's where that whole thing is great.
Oh my God. I know this isn't on our list too, but Ben's "thou hast protest too much" after.
Yes.
And also, like, he was mean to Bailey. Fuck that. She did not deserve that. And even everyone in the house was like, your defensiveness right now is like it was a stupid joke, and he made it weird. And Bailey is just trying to find her footing. She's an influencer. She's trying to keep those followers up. This is like a big opportunity for her career.
Yeah. And she's jealous.
Like,
she's jealous.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, she is jealous.
Yeah. And I don't blame her.
It's obvious.
Exactly. It's like, we all know we're not there all the time. So, like, she's there all the time. She sees it all the time. And it's real clear for her. Yeah. So, backstory, if you haven't seen the episode, basically, Bailey's the newcomer blonde who really likes Ben a lot. Ben is the one who's from Australia, was on the Australian Bachelor, but does not know how to flirt, he thinks, and therefore is pretty insecure about it. But he and Amanda came in as Kyle and Amanda's friend. And it turned out that when they first met, they went skinny dipping at that wedding together with Kyle, and, you know, but then since then, him coming as a new friend has been pretty fucking flirty with Amanda. He, like, lifts her up and, you know, picks her, gave her the towel coming out of the pool when Kyle, in the meantime, was, like, being a brat about her being in a bra in the pool. And like, he does all these things. They're very, very sweet. So then, meanwhile, Bailey made a comment at the Renaissance Fair about, like, oh, he's just flirting with you, about how he was with Amanda. And Ben was sort of like, what? Like, and Amanda was like, yeah, he's flirting with me. And Kyle's right there. And so, like, they're all kind of, like, joking around with her a little bit about it in the moment. Like, it seemed like that was okay. So then at the dinner table, it's Amanda's birthday dinner, and Ciara says, or actually Solomon said, why don't we go around and everybody say one thing we like about Ciara, one thing we like about Amanda. And so it gets to Ben, and he just barely opens his mouth, and fucking Bailey says out loud, very loudly, like, oh, I knew you were just going to say you want to sleep with her. Like, whoa!
But to be fair, he said, I love your smile and how you light up a room.
He said that after, though. He said it after.
Oh, he
She
did?
cut him off. Yeah, she cut him off before he even said it, which then makes that so much more awkward that he was going to say that too. But then he was like, it wasn't about having sex with her. It's like, yeah, but you did say something real close and classy. Like, honestly, a pretty classy version of want to sleep with you. But, and I love what he said, frankly. I think it's so sweet. But also, yeah, Bailey was just, so, like, point being, it was a lot to say that. And also, it made sense. Like, she's saying to him, when he confronted her, he ends up getting super pissed. He's, like, cold with her. Then he goes up to her room and, like, lambastes her and says, like, what was that? Where's it coming from? There's something else going on. What is it going on? What did you expect her to say? Like, I have a crush on you, so I was jealous? Because that's what it was. You know, it's like, so what can she do? Like, So he's saying that very seriously to, you know, she just came out of a relationship where someone was very abusive and yelling and breaking things. And so she was pretty triggered by it and felt really uncomfortable. And then he was like ready to storm out because he didn't want to hear her answer. And yeah, I agree. He handled that poorly. And so even before he went to talk to her, the guy said to him, like, why are you taking this so serious? Like, why is this such a big deal? And he's like, well, I don't want her saying that I want to sleep with my mate's missus.
Oh my God. And then they're like, you actually talk about that, which was a little mean, but like really,
I know.
Like Connor and I in the moment, it just was funny.
It was great.
The way
the boys all laughing. I was like, this is what Ben needs. It's to lighten up a little bit. Like he needs a little laughter. Like I thought he would laugh with the boys and he did laugh with them, but he just was like, nah, you know, like laughing as he grumbled off and then went to go talk to her with that energy of like the angry energy. So she ended up changing and not going out that night. She was crying by herself in the bathroom. I mean, I just was like, oh, sweet baby girl. Like she very correctly was like, he didn't do anything that my ex did, but it reminded me of that. And I was like, exactly. Like that's very well put.
It was important.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
mm-hmm.
I actually have the ick for him after that.
Yeah.
I don't like, I'm a little like all set.
It's very mishandled.
That was, it like also, she obviously has a crush on you. You know that. But he took it to like a paranoid place of like, what are they saying about me?
Yeah.
Like what's everyone saying? And it just was, I just hated it. I really like to speak to a woman that way. And about something that was clearly a joke, and she clearly likes you, also broke my heart because she's like, I'm going to be flirty with Ben this weekend. And I was like, oh,
terrible timing. I know. But
I just felt for her.
I'm telling you, I do not think he knows she likes him. I don't think he knows that. I mean, he's so he's so clear about the fact he like doesn't know when people are flirting. He gets uncomfortable when they flirt. Like when the other girl was the one who someone said, who's the hottest guy here? The other girl said Ben. And he turned to her and he's like, I'm sweating. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, he just doesn't even expect it. And that wasn't even Bailey who said that. So I actually think he doesn't. And even Bailey sort of says, I don't think my flirting is clear. Like, that's why I think she's even aware he didn't seem to know. So he wasn't reciprocating or whatever. And so I think, potentially I actually don't think he knew, but it still is like, what else? Yeah. Like, I think the point is his fear, exactly as you identified, was that everybody was thinking that. And I think he was worried Kyle thought it and he didn't know, you know, and then that does change how he's flirty with Amanda. But that's the whole point, is he does actually like Amanda. That's what it comes down to. He's defensive because he likes Amanda and he doesn't want people not knowing it or like talking about it. And, you know, Amanda didn't change anything about how she is towards him because of it. And Amanda seemed to know too, by the way. You know, like the way she was talking about it, she was like, I don't know. She's like, it's a little uncomfortable. She's like, I have thick skin, so I didn't really care. I was like, why would you care? If anything, that's like such a huge compliment.
Yeah. And she, I'm sure, was loving it. Yeah. And she looked incredible. Her dress, like why? Yeah. You don't need thick skin to get an amazing compliment. Yeah, like, it's just fun. There are no downsides for you at all.
Nope, none. And Kyle handled it well. Kyle was funny about it. It was fine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think everybody
was fine, but Ben.
Exactly. I think Kyle even looked to Ben and was like, these dinners are tough, or, you know, something like that. It was funny. So overall, like, I think it was fine. But yeah, Ben mishandled it out of a clear, like, insecurity about people seeing him, you know, at all.
I see some things and I'm no longer and for that reason, I'm out.
Yes, Shark Tank. Yes. I love it. Yeah. I mean, it reminded me of when I was in Australia, like, he's very Australian. He just, like, is extremely Australian. So, like, they are very, like, easygoing and, like, loving. But when they get angry, like, they are still technically from a very patriarchal culture and, like, are a little bit behind us in that, you know? And so I think that even though they are in many ways very easygoing, which makes it seem like they're more progressive, they are not, you know? So it's a good reminder of that.
That's what we saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. Well, what about the Carl and Kyle of it all? Mm-hmm. What do we think about the soft bar?
The soft bar, like, I just kind of loved it because it was holding Kyle's feet to the fire. I mean, so there was a part of me that felt for Kyle because, like, so the backstory is that Kyle's friend Kyle has a company called Loverboy, which is a seltzer. It's actually quite good, but I think the problem with it is he, like, made too many SKUs. Like, I think that's the issue, but he spread himself too thin. But anyway, he now had to put in a $500,000 check to keep it afloat, to keep his payroll get paid. Meanwhile, he's DJing. That's his whole excuse for DJing, is that his business isn't doing well, so he has to DJ. So he's making lots of money, frankly. So, but when he first started his business, Carl, his friend, put in $15K invested. So then now that Carl is starting a business called Soft Bar for, like, using soft, you know, mocktails instead of actual drinks for, like, very much alcohol-free setting, Kyle did not invest any money. And we later find out that Kyle even said he would and didn't, and then pulled out. And so
that's worse to me.
It's so much worse. It's so much worse. And so like Ben goes and visits Carl and asks him directly who's invested. I think this was producer led, by the way. I think producers were like, ask him who's invested, you know. So then Carl says, well, yeah, Kyle didn't. He's like, it's kind of hurtful, to be honest. So then Ben comes back to dinner and says that, Amanda's birthday dinner too, by the way, says like, so I went and saw Carl and like, yeah, I asked him about investors. And he's like, so you got in on that, right, Solomon? And Jesse was like, yeah. And then he goes to like, everyone kind of like, to Kyle. Which actually, to Kyle's credit, he immediately brought it up. He was like, yeah, so like I was going to. He's like, but you know, I had to like put in a $500,000 check just to keep my business afloat. And to be fair, like that is a real, I do understand that. But then I forgot about the DJing. Then I was like, oh yeah, but the DJing, it's like, that is kind of shitty. And I thought Jesse, beautiful. Like Jesse says to him, like, you know, I think part of it is he sees you doing the DJing and the fact that he did invest and like you said you would and then you pulled out. And he's like, and you know, Carl's just a sensitive guy. And he's like, I think you guys just need to have a conversation. So
that was well handled for Jesse.
Boss level. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well done. And I think Kyle then said the thing that I was appalled by, which was directly to us, I think. But when he said, when I'm putting more money into my own business than Carl is, how can he expect that I would put money into his? What?
I don't know what. It's another math issue with the order of operations. No. I don't understand what you're saying.
Not mathing. And just because you have more money to put more money into your business, which also makes more money because it is a business, doesn't mean that Carl needs to like whatever. Like I was just like really floored by that. I couldn't really. I was like, oh no, you lost me there, buddy, because I was kind of feeling bad for him, and then I was like, no, nerd.
What I thought was the latent content, or maybe I'm misreading it, but I do remember that Kyle put up with a lot from Carl when Carl was an alcoholic and a coke addict, actually, and they like worked together. And I was like, is it that he feels like he's like they're on, like he doesn't owe him? And I was like, but you said you would. That's where I kind of lose.
Yeah.
You said you would invest. And by the way, he's trying to be sober, which is what you wanted for him. So it just, I understand your business is failing and your relationship is failing and he should have invested.
Yeah, exactly. And at least do like an IOU or like a, you know, like when this happens, I plan to do that or something that shows that you're invested in doing it or that you understand why it's important that you do it. Because I hear you about putting up with Carl back then, but I almost feel like he was doing that under the guise of like trying to help Kyle. Trying to help Carl and help him do better. And so now you've helped Carl so much that he's often blossoming. So isn't it even more important you continue supporting his growth? Yeah.
Exactly. Even if, an IOU, or even if he was like, look, money's tight, I got to invest less. Here's $5,000.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I wish I could give more.
Yeah.
That would be better than just not at all, because he must have some money somewhere.
Yeah. You know? Do one more gig, do a gig for Carl.
Right.
Do a fundraising gig and tell people it's for Carl. It's it's like we're fundraising for Carl.
That's a great idea. Yeah. They should consult with you.
I know, right?
Dr. K.
What up?
Carl friendship fix.
And then invest in me. We'll be great. Yeah. Invest in our podcast.
Yes, please. Because we're actually, Kyle, if you're going to invest in, I've actually been pretty easy on you. Just saying. I could have been a lot meaner at a lot of times. So
yes. You're so right. Oh my God. I love it. It's so true. We have a Kyle apologizer here. You should be definitely investing in us, and we'll continue along those lines. Yeah.
I find you funny.
I don't mind your drunk nights talking to yourself.
Just don't be a dick.
Exactly. Don't make it harder on us. I say us, but I'm actually not I'm not a Kyle apologizer, but I do understand it. I do understand how he can be funny and so forth. So, but and in this case, I actually did feel for him a little bit, because I was like, I do understand, like, well, obviously right now I really understand not having fucking money, but I also just felt like he did actually do a good job by bringing it up first. He named it, I thought he actually handled it quite well given that, but then he just got all his usual self where he gets all like up in arms and you know what it is? Self-righteous. Yeah. He's like self-righteous.
Patriarchal, where it's like, and it's like, I think what's probably hard for Amanda is she can see that he could do better, and then he just backslides, and then it's like, what the fuck? Who's this guy? Really?
I know.
I have a feeling it's going to get worse with some of the previews of him and Carl getting into it.
Ooh.
Like, it seems like it's going to go downhill.
Yeah, and I thought you meant him and Amanda, because that's all going to get worse. Dude, how much does it not age well that she said, at least I got to watch out of it, now I can leave him, because at least I got to watch out of it!
You know what what I was like. I was like, yeah, at least she got to watch a Cartier watch.
Yeah.
I was happy for her.
Yeah, same. And then the fact she says it in the next episode, I was like dying. I was like, oh my God, amazing. It's true. That's what happened.
Yeah,
you got a much out of it. Yep, exactly. Oh, so good. So fucking good and amazing. Poor Kyle. But yeah, you're right. Kyle and Carl too are going to get into it. And it's good to see that come to a head because obviously there's some energy there that's not getting attended to. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is great because this is only our mid-season theme, so we'll be able to come back and follow up on it. For example, if you're not watching this season, now you know the main threads. You don't need to watch it because we gave them to you. And if you are, of course, feel free to comment and so forth or ask questions. Even if you aren't watching it, you can go to our institute. Oh, yeah. Is this good to wrap up?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
great.
I've covered everything I've ever thought this season.
Me too. I'm feeling real good out on the fucking table. Oh, I will say one more thing actually that came to mind, which was when Kyle, to your point about Amanda wanting him to do better and then he slides, is like when he first brought up the fact that he didn't have money because he put all that money in his business. You could see Amanda doing the to Ciara, she was like grinning like through her teeth kind of thing, like sort of like, like making that, yeah.
Is it true?
Yeah, right. She's like, here's this fucking thing, here's this excuse. Like, I was like, oh my God, poor fucking Amanda. Tough spot to be in when you don't really, you don't really want to back him because you don't really believe him, or you don't, you think that that's like lip service because it kind of is. It's a lip servicey type fucking business there. So
it feels like it. Yeah. $15,000 is a lot of money, but it doesn't seem like it's a lot for him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he gave $500,000, right? To make payroll, which means that's for like what, 1-2 week period. So like, yeah, I mean, that's gotta be, doing okay. I mean, also, by the way, I heard on a podcast where they're talking about Kyle that he's actually a good DJ. So people are liking him. So he's probably doing well. Yeah.
Well, that's, I guess, good for Kyle.
Yeah. Maybe good for Carl if he invests. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. Invest in your friend Carl, who's really been there for you.
Yes. And maybe Amanda before she leaves you. No, don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that now. You already did. That's what the watch was.
Yeah.
We like it. Yeah. We like it that he listened.
That was their parting gift.
Yes.
That's how I looked at it.
Exactly.
I'm like, at least you got a good birthday.
Yes.
Finally, from this man-child.
Yes. She and she had to ask for it. I couldn't believe it when she told her mom. She's like, so remember that watch I told Kyle I wanted? I was like, oh, that's why. I was like, how did he know that? Because she was like, I actually really like it. I was like, oh my God, good for Carl. I mean, Kyle. Wow, I keep doing that today. Good for Kyle. He really like grew up and figured out what she'd like. No, she fucking asked for it. It's like, oh my God, get this guy out of here.
Bye. Yeah. Bye, guy.
By the way, my opinion about that in general is like, I think it's fair that some people are not good gift givers. But then that means that they also need to be open to learning and growing and figuring it out over time. So like, for example, like I might scaffold, like with my husband, he was not a big gift giver. He's like much more of the like give someone cash or, give someone gift cards and stuff. So I had to, when we started dating, and just sort of like be like, so here's what I typically like, here's how to, and like first couple times I'll tell you what I want. And then, but I like literally like scaffolded him over time. And now he knows exactly what to do and he gets it and he nails it. And I don't have to say a fucking word. And it's great because the whole point is like gifting shows you can think about what the other person wants without them having to tell you. That is the fucking point. So like, yeah, I don't know. Kyle's got to grow up a little bit.
I didn't realize I cared about it until one birthday when Connor and I were first dating. I love Connor. He's a practical guy.
Yeah.
And I needed a bike tire. So he got me a bike tire. So sweet. And I was like, and then he's like, you're driving to Ohio tomorrow. So I also got you all these snacks. Oh. And I was a little like, I realized I'm like, oh, I like more creative gifts. This is
very
so I guess you learn much.
Yeah, exactly.
Very sweet. But I'm like, damn, I would have gone a different direction. Yeah. But I appreciate you.
Exactly. And all it takes is just having those conversations and they can learn and grow and do, my ex-husband too was a very practical gift giver and actually only wanted practical gifts. And I was like, you don't even know what you're missing out on. I was like, you think you just want practical gifts, but then I actually got creative at doing practical gifts for him. But yeah, but my current husband and the love of my life love, he and I both we like creative gifts, and he handmade me a Valentine this year because we have no money, and it was the sweetest thing. I started bawling. I was like, this is the sweetest thing I've ever seen. It was so sweet. Like wrote this long thing. Oh, it was great. It's like that's what I want. It doesn't need to be money. It just needs to be, like you said, creative and thoughtful. They're thinking about you. Yeah.
Yes.
We love it.
Yes. Connor, the thoughtfulness was there. The creativity, I was like,
yeah. Marks for that. Marks on for that. Marks off for that. Oh, gross, my guy. Can you see this? I want to show you. There's a fucking spider on my ceiling. Can you see that?
Wait. Oh, yeah.
You see it?
That's a big boy.
It's a big boy. We don't like it.
Damn.
We don't fucking like it.
Damn.
And if you watch the video, friends, you can see it. You know,
If you like spiders.
Yeah, exactly.
If you like spiders, pay us $5 a month.
Exactly. You can see one anytime you want. Go back to the video and watch it again. Oh my god, too funny.
And again and again and again.
Exactly. Just freeze it. You can frame freeze it. Oh, that's too much. It's also really gross. Now I'm freaking out because it's above my head. It's not freaking out, but it's right above my head. So I'm going to keep thinking about it. Make sure it doesn't drop on me. That's all I really care about. So we'll wrap this puppy up. We're right on the hour mark, 2:57 minutes too, so it's perfect. So check us out on Patreon. As we mentioned earlier already, it's only $5 a month, and you would get all sorts of goodies like the videos and also mental health checkup stuff, and you would also get sort of some of the write-ups that I've done before as well, and sort of blog posts about certain topics, or also there was like a handout I made once about certain content and references and so forth that you can get. So there's all sorts of different various goodies. You can also, however, become a free member and the night before get the audio released the night before it comes out in general. This is at patreon.com/realitytest, the name of our podcast. You can also go to patreon.com and put in our search bar at the @ reality test, and then you'll find us. Find the teal and purple. And then you also can find us at Instagram at reality test podcast. We have our individual Instagrams that are a little bit more, I've honestly probably more attended to, but even then we're like kind of falling off the chat recently on our social media. Social medias are not the most lively place for us right now. But we also have our individual ones at Dr.s Kay Pods and at Dr. Ray Pods. And then you can also find us on both TikTok. Nope, not that. And I'm also saying both purposely because it's both two other things, not fucking TikTok, because we're out of there because that's all this conservative bullshit and propaganda and censorship. And fucking censorship, so goodbye. But instead, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Reality Test Pod. Not podcast, but pod, at Reality Test Pod. Also, at Dr. K Pods is the threads we have as well. So then you will find us at an email, and you should email us. And one day I'm going to tell you what happened in the email that I had somebody write in about. I could just tell you now. I'll just do it now because we're still under an hour mark. So I'm just going to give it to you. So the reason, what I called out for, I asked a question and I said, what do people think about this idea that I think it might have been a touch racist of me to say to myself, why is Bad Bunny's show not with subtitles? Like, why can't I hear what you, because we heard about how important it would be that he was talking about social justice, and I wanted to be able to hear it. And then as I was thinking that to myself, I was like, wait a minute, like, that's kind of fucked. Like, think about all the Spanish people that have been watching are from various different countries that have been watching our TV as the like main standard, and it has not been in Spanish subtitles, and they don't know what's happening either. And, you know, you sort of like have to gain what you can from the visuals. And I think Bad Bunny purposely did that. He made it very clear visually, like there's a wedding, you know, he like made very clear like graphics to make it clear what was happening in the scene. I sort of was like checking myself on that. I was like, is this touch racist? I can see an argument either direction. Like, what do people think? And so, I had one person write in, which thank you so much to this person. This person who did not give me the go-ahead for using their name, so I'll just say someone who wrote in, thank you so much, friend, wrote an email where they sort of were saying, first of all, it feels like while that is an instinct, they were sort of agreeing. They're like, I had a similar instinct at first, and so did my partner. But then as I thought more about it, it kind of defeats the purpose. Like, it defeats the purpose to have the subtitles because some of what we're doing is celebrating the language and also like what a powerful statement that is, that it be without subtitles. And I totally agree with that. And that it be in Spanish. And then they brought up this other point that I absolutely loved as well, where they said, it brings up the idea that language, there's so much more to learn from language than what the words mean. Like, there's so much, you know, and I thought that was such a great point. There's understanding language means more than understanding what the words mean. Yeah, you know, it's like, to understand a language, there's so much more to it. And so I thought that was such a great way of sort of thinking about that the words are only a part of understanding a language, and that there's so much more to it, including the nonverbals and so forth. So what a beautiful point. Thank you, friend, for writing in. And in general, we'll have more questions for y'all to think about and sort of write in about, and we will bring them up when they happen.
Mm-hmm. We sure
Sorry
will.
for this delay, but here we are. It's happening. So with that, we're also on email, because sometimes we're going to ask you to email us if you have thoughts. And so to do so, you would do that at realitycheckpodding, PODDING, at gmail.com.
Yes, and don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, like us, and tell all your friends.
Hi, friends. Thanks, friends, for coming. That you were your friends' friends that came. And also, bring your friends. And then tell their friends, bring their friends. And we will see you all next session. Bye.